Hello, and welcome to the What's Running You with Morgan Simpson podcast. I am Morgan Simpson, author of the book What's Running You, and we're going to try a little something new today. We're definitely still going to have our interviews, but we're also going to be doing some content videos and episodes. So we're going to have the episodes here on your local favorite podcast avenue, and we're also going to have them up on YouTube, and then we'll have clips on social media. We're just going to kind of go over some of the content on the books. I just had these little ideas I wanted to talk about and thought this would be a good place to do it. And I'm trying to, say yes to more of those ideas that hit my mind before fear comes and shuts them down. So here we go. And to do that, one of the things I'm going to do is, these episodes aren't going to be perfect. I'm just going to kind of talk. I'm going to try not to edit them a bunch or like redo it a bunch. I'm just going to try to talk, put it out there, because that'll help me stay consistent and kind of, just do it more and be a little more free. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So if I screw up, we're going to keep going because there's a chance like one of my kids is going to bust through that or an airplane's going to go over my house because I live in LA and all that stuff. But we're going to keep plugging away. So thanks for being here. We'll still have our interviews, but I also, as I told my wife the other day, I don't want to be the guy at the dinner party who's like, people are like avoiding, is he's going to be like, can you please be on my podcast? I mean, that gets a little annoying. So we'll still have some of those, but I still have to live my life, and that's what I'm doing. So here we go. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a tough subject, but I think the one that can, it's where a lot of the good stuff is. So, because in tough stuff, there's growth, there's learning, there's life, and it's all part of kind of this, my kind of version of the hero's journey that I talk about in the book, So this is kind of a little piece of that, and it's the dark night of the soul. And this is something that we all go through a lot in life, and I think a lot of people are going through it now, so I thought it'd be a good time to talk about it. And so I'm excited. So to get moving with this. So here we go. Let's jump in. So Dark Night of the Soul is, and the way I want to talk about today is just the dark times that we have in life, where we're just kind of at a breaking point where, I think a lot of people feel that way. They just kind of lost and something's got to change, something's got to give. That's one of the ways I look at it, and I was talking to let me just start with saying I think a lot of people are going through that right now, right? It's a hard time. And, if you have anxiety or depression or, a lot of people have suicidal thoughts and all those things seem to be rising, kind of bubbling to the surface. So it's something we want to delve in here today with. So I just want to say, I talked to, all right, I'm going to start with I deal with anxiety. Like I talk in the book about a young kid. I had this kind of issue with anxiety, and, I talk about how it kind of, when my grandfather and my third grade teacher both died around the same time, I just kind of flipped out. I think I was in third grade. Nobody knows this, except for, a couple of people. Not that it was that big a deal, but I just got scared. Like I thought about one day I just thought that my parents could die, and it just kind of freaked me out. See, there's a noise. It just kind of freaked me out. So, it's one of those things where I was just scared. I say in the book, like it was almost like somebody had turned on my anxiety faucet and like I couldn't turn it off. And I feel like that's what's going on now, and we kind of need help turning it off at times. But for me, I ended up talking to a therapist and I got better. And, but I still feel like these pangs of anxiety, and I think that's going on a lot right now, and that can lead to some hard stuff, right? And I'm sure we've all had people in our lives who we know who's dealt with deep depression or suicide, and I think it's something that we want to talk about, because it's going on, and we want to try to be there for people, help people as much as we can. So I had a buddy of mine who who called me one day, and he was just like, man, or actually I called him, and he was just like, I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And, I was just scared, to be honest. I'd never been in a conversation like that. I wanted to say the right thing. I wanted to be a good friend. And we had a good talk, kind of talked him through what was going on, and hung up the phone. And then I had this, I had this feeling like I thought of something a couple of weeks before, and I was like, oh man, should I call him back and tell him that? And I was like, I don't know. Because I was scared, and we like ended on a good place. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna call him back. I'm just kind of feeling my guts kind of telling me I need to do that. So I call him back. I say, hey man, I just want to talk to you about something. I had a thought of like, this feeling you're having of wanting to die. Like, all emotions give you feedback, right? Like, they're giving you information. It's one of the things I love about emotion, whether they're good or bad, like you're getting feedback in some sense. I was like, maybe this feeling of like wanting to die is telling you something. Like, let's look at what it's telling you. Maybe it is telling you that something needs to die. But here's the thing, like, here's the key. It's not you, right? It's not a person. What it's telling you needs to die is like a belief, a resentment, an attitude, something in your life that you're holding on to that you just can't let go to, and it is literally like crushing you. Like, that's what needs to be let go of. It's not you. It's just you're getting feedback that like this thing, this idea, this belief is crushing me. It is not working for me. Or this resentment, this feeling, this expectation. A lot of it's expectation that somehow you're trying to live up to something that you set years ago that you're like, wow, why do I even have that expectation? Like, so I think it's looking at that stuff. And I could tell as we were talking about this, I could kind of feel through the phone, like the energy change, and that is something for me that I just wanted to share because I think it's true. And I actually thought about it a couple weeks before that because I just had something happen, that I'd just been expecting, like career-wise, and I'd put all my hope into it. And during COVID, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be awesome. I'll be able to write this thing, do this thing. It's going to be great. It seemed like they wanted it, all that stuff. And then at the last minute, they passed on it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And and what that did is tap into a lot of other things. Like, I was mad at myself for I can't believe I put myself through this thing again, where I got my hopes up and did this thing, and I was so angry at myself, and I was so just done. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't want to say felt for this, but like I did this whole thing again, and I set myself up for this whole thing. And I was walking my dog, and I was just like, oh God, I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. I think a lot of people feel tired, and I was just like, I need to die to how I thought this thing was going to go. This aspect of my career and stuff, I just need to die to my expectations of what I thought that was, because it's crushing me, right? And that was helpful. And I remember thinking, like, I wonder if that's what people are feeling like when they're feeling so. Is it that something needs to die? So I just kind of linked those things up together, and I was just thinking, like, because I was done, man. I was so done with it. I was just like, oh, like it was breaking me. And I was just like, oh man, I'm so tired of it. So tired. So that's what kind of got my mind thinking about it, And I think and I want to say, like, it was really freeing for me. Like, and I don't want to say like you do this to kind of jump through this hoop, because like as I let that thing go, like other opportunities just came in. It was weird, like in the same thing, but like things I would have loved to happen. It's almost like I had to detach from it a little bit to leave space for it to come. And I'm not saying we can do this mind trick with it. Well, I'm going to let it go so I get it. I think you really got to, in some sense, let it go. And then it, because it came back in a different form, and we'll see. I'm trying to not stay too attached to that as well. That's not to say we don't want things, we do, but I mean, I think we can get so ingrained in that, and so like, we just hold so tightly that it just, it breaks us. So, and we just had Easter a couple weeks ago, and I think this is kind of like that. I was talking to some kids actually in a little youth group thing. We were helping out on the Easter thing, and we were trying to talk about like Easter. And one of the things I told them was like, like talking about Good Friday, the day of the cross and everything. I was saying, well, I mean, maybe it's like in how we can kind of, that part of us that kind of experience that. It's like, I think it's like in life, like we're holding these two bags in our hands, and this one is like, the one in the right one is like resentments, right? These are like all the resentments we're holding. And the left one are like all the mistakes we've made, right? And we're just holding these, we're just walking around with these bags, right? And it's so heavy and it's so exhausting. We're walking around all the time. And it's like, I think it's just like, man, we just need to let go of the bags, just let them go. Let them go. At some point, it's just too burdensome. And you're so free when you do that. And that kind of, leads to Easter Sunday. It's like then a new you kind of emerges. And it's not a different you, it's just a freer you, so it is different in some ways, but it's just like you without all this stuff you're carrying around, But I do want to say that like can be really tricky though. I mean, the one thing about that is something I've noticed when I do that in my life is like I have to build up some practices around it, right? Because I'm so comfortable holding those bags that I'll want to pick them up again. I know that's screwed up. It's like screwed up, right? But I'm like comfortable holding that stuff. Like I get something for it. So it's like, part of me is like, I'll want to pick them back up again. And so I think part of this is like building the habit of like, of like letting them go daily, So one of the things is I had this thing happen, just personally has been like a really good aspect of my life. Like I've never really had a lot of issues with people personally. Like I really haven't. It's just been like, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and I've had a lot of struggles in certain areas of life, but relationally really haven't, and and I had to, something where I just had this idea where I was like, I went through something, I was just like, I just need to be okay with like, as silly as it sounds, like not everybody liking me, right? It's like that is if I have the belief, which I kind of had pride in, like I get along with everyone, which is not a bad thing, or like I held a lot of pride in that. And when I kind of got shaken a little bit, I was like, man, I have zero muscle in this area. I have no muscle. And two, that is a terribly hard way to live your life, is like your happiness depends on everybody liking you. You're toast, So I was just like, I got to change this belief. So like, I need to die to this belief that everybody needs to like me. But let me tell you, I've held onto that belief for a long time. So I needed to build some practices, like some serious, obviously I talked to my wife a lot about it. I talked to a therapist, and I have these quotes that I just kind of look at and remind myself of, like, other people's opinion is none of my business. And, so I think about those things. So I'm just saying, like, when you die to something, like, build some practices around it. Get some people to help you. We all need each other. We all have to have practices to help us, because, like I said, we're used to carrying these bags, and we want to let them go. We want to let them go, and we're going to have to, in the book I talked about, my buddy Jeff, it's money in the bank, anything you do each day to help you with these things, you just put a little money in the bank, and I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build muscle, and I think it's going to be good. So yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about, this dark night of the soul that we all go through. But just remember to, like, even though it's painful, like in your situation, if you're anxious, depressed, if you're having thoughts of hurting yourself, One, I'll put the number in any notes for wherever this goes to, to call, a number to call to get help. Because like I said, part of it is reaching out to someone. And two, I want you to know that the world needs you, right? The world needs what you have to offer. It may not feel like it at times, because I think those things we can get overwhelmed by shame, and we can even have shame about the thoughts we're feeling. But trust me, the world needs people who've been through hard things and hard emotions and have empathy for other people who are going through them. And you can just add that to the world. And like, we have so much judgment right now, but some of the strongest people I know are people who've kind of felt the emotions you're feeling, and can kind of, they can create enough space between them and the emotions, that they can see them and like distance them from their worth, then you can really become just a light in the world. And we need more of those lights. We need more people who are the type of people who see somebody going through a hard time and just like, hey, and walk through it with them, or just be someone there for them if they need it. Like, we need you. The world needs you. You have a gift that you can give the world that the world needs, so just know that you're loved, you're worthy, that you have a lot to offer the world, and these feelings you're having don't change any of that. If anything, they strengthen it. Like I was saying, like, for example, like I was saying, like I did this work, to kind of like change that belief of like everyone has to like me. Trust me, if you're dealing with that issue right now, I'm who you want to talk to, right? Because I've had more empathy towards that situation, right? I'm a better friend now. And so don't let these feelings you're having get entangled with your worth. Okay? You are so just beautiful, we all are. We just need to see it and add that to the world. Okay, we're gonna stop there today, because I don't want these to be too long. We'll just do short little bits. But so there you go. Just know that you're worthy, that you're beautiful, and you've got good things ahead. All right, thanks y'all. Talk to you next time.